live. All right. We are back. I'm not sure what the heck happened there, but I lost everything. So hopefully you guys can find us and join the show back. We'll see. Should I bring Tim here? Or Neil? Hey, Neil. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
That was weird. I don't know what happened there.
Anyway.
All right. So hopefully everybody can find us. Hey, you can share it on Facebook again. Awesome for everybody. Huh? Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
I gotta eat it for you guys to be able to hear it. All right. So anyway, all right. We're back and we have 2 people watching us. So thanks for watching us. I did. Joe apparently closed his computer and he turned the whole show off. So I don't know how that happened.
Anyway, all right.
As we talked to Jim Kelly earlier, we got the Victory Bell back. I think it was a huge win for Satterfield and him keeping the job. I mean, I don't think we got fired on the spot. Like I said, I think Bearcat Nation would have probably roasted him and tried to run out of the city here. What's your thoughts on? I see the now the police. What's your thoughts on Sat and moving forward, and how big of a win was that for him?
That was a big win for Scott Satterfield, and obviously they knew the importance of what this rivalry really meant, and they preached all week about what this rivalry meant to get the Victory Bell back to Cincinnati, and they had it circled all year, and honestly, that's a big win for Scott Satterfield. Obviously, you wanted to build off of that loss at Pittsburgh. I know there was a lot of questions to how would this team come back surrounding that loss to Pittsburgh and bounce back, but I thought they responded great, and that's a win you can really build momentum on now that the Victory Bell was happening, because as Jim said, and you guys said it earlier, I thought that was the most emotion that we have seen with Scott Satterfield, and he was fired up to get that bell back to Clifton, and overall to get that bell back to Clifton with the importance of this rivalry, with the future being all up in the air due to the contract negotiations and whatnot. This game's not going to be played in 2025. To get that bell back was huge.
Keep it. That's when that stuff, like when the Bearcats left, or the Big East left the Bearcats, however you want to put it. We had the River City rivalry. We had that one. Did we have one with West Virginia too, I think?
West Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, we had a trophy game with them, and we had the Victory Bell.
And you had Louisville too with the Keg of Nails.
That was the other one.
Keg of Nails.
Yeah, had a Keg of Nails. So we had all those, and then last year we the East, we lost them all.
Yep.
And I think we lost the Victory Bell last year too, which sucked. We might won that one. I don't remember. Well, with that being said, that's where if this is going to be the end of it, that Victory Bell needs to stay in Clifton. I want it to stay there forever until because we want it more than anybody else. It's kind of a spoils of war, if you want to say that. We get to keep that bell, and this past Saturday was a good thing going toward that, of keeping that bell.
Yeah, and the best part about it was Corey Kiner even said at postgame himself that they prioritized on getting that bell back and not letting Miami ever get it back.
Exactly.
Because of the significance of the rivalry. But overall, it was just great to see the guys fired up. Obviously, in the postgame press conferences, Coach Satterfield said Eric Phillips, he put a lot of stuff on his plate and said, hey, you got to have a big game. You have the opportunity to get to the quarterback. Now let's make some plays.
Right.
And then he comes out and he has the best game of his career. Obviously, Eric Phillips is a 6-year guy.
Right.
He comes in, you get your 2 big sacks, you get your 2 tackles for loss. And Jeff, it's even worth noting the 1 sack. He comes in and he takes a 2 for 1 and takes the tight end out completely.
Exactly.
Then you get the sack, a 7-yard loss. So that was a huge play in this game. But overall, you can sense from the moment they got there, I was right there when they walked into Baker Stadium, you could just sense the energy was different.
And one of the coolest texts I got was from you, and they're leaving. Everybody was just flooding out of there, and that was awesome because damn it, losing last year sucked, because if we lost it, we shouldn't have lost it, and getting Satterfield to put this right. Do you think he actually understood the rivalry last year, or did he understand it more this year? Was the rivalry more important to him this year because the rivalry, or because his job?
I think he understood about what the rivalry was last year, but I think last year, everything we have heard from players following the victory, obviously we spoke to a couple of them, even more today. They said this group was more honed in on bringing that bell back to Clifton, and they were all worried and playing together as a team collectively about what this rivalry meant. the program, to the University of Cincinnati, to the community. But in the end, they said they weren't all collectively there as a team, is what some of them thought. So overall, seeing that and seeing how they responded was huge because you could sense that they were there all week. And in the video that they put out last night, the Clifton Cut is what they call it, the 7-minute recap that Clay Colvin and Amani Anderson and Cody Haney put together, you could sense everything that they were talking about was we're going to do whatever it takes to ring that bell, whatever it takes. And Derek Cantine, a first-year guy, stood up at halftime in the video. You can see it. He said, we're going to do whatever it takes to ring that bell.
Ring that blinking bell.
And once you stand that, that's a guy who's in the first year in the program. He didn't understand the rivalry probably from what the outsiding perspective.
Right. I mean, it's not a national rivalry.
But now you have a group of guys who understood what this rivalry meant.
Right.
And Eric Phillips, I mean, he was very emotional after the game. When we talked to him, he said, man, we got to get this bell back. They had it in the club last year. Like, we got to get it back. They disrespected the bell. He wanted it back, and he brings it back. I mean, even made an appearance at Martino's up on Short Vine. So the bell was out and about this weekend, but it's good to have it back in Clifton.
It's good to have it back to have it home. It's good to have it back home, I was trying to say. Anyway, I hope you guys find the stream again. I don't know why I do what happened. Joe left, and he turned his computer off, and somehow I turned the whole show off. So we're back here. Got another hour to talk here. Now, I know you covered the Bearcats, and I do want to talk a little Bengals, so if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is where I went live on Sunday after the postgame show I did, me and Joe, and I said this, that I think the way the Bengals played, if they play like that, they can win the rest of the games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you say what you want about the officiating. Yes, we don't get calls when it comes to Kansas City. If Evan McPherson doesn't miss the extra point, it's a tie game. Joe doesn't fumble, blah, blah, blah. Either way, all that being said, they played so much better than the first week. It's not even funny. And I looked at they were pissed off.
Yep.
They were Joe Jackpot didn't put in the words of how he felt after the game. Jamal was, short answers. They were pissed. I like that. I want them to be pissed.
Yeah,
I want them to be mad because we should have won that game. And the Chiefs, and the national media is even saying this, that the Chiefs don't want to, they know the Chiefs don't want to play us. And that's where we got a shot here. And as long as our defensive line can stay healthy, because I haven't heard any updates on Rankins or BJ Hill. But yeah, we lost, but that loss. I'll take Paul Dana Jr. here. He quoted one of the greatest movies ever, The White Man Can't Jump, where she says, sometimes you win and you still lose. And sometimes you lose, but you still win. And sometimes you lose and you actually won. I think we lost the game, but we actually won because of how great the Bengals played. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. And it's a great point you mentioned that because obviously week 1 versus New England was an overall garbage shoot all the way around, if you ask me. I mean, the offense wasn't clicking. You could sense that Jamar Chase was off after missing training camp and holding out. And then T. Higgins had out there. Like, look at who he had Jamar Chase out there. But, I mean, look at what else he was working with. He's without his top 2 receivers for most of training camp and the connection's off. So, overall, I think personally I would like them to see the run game a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah.
But it was better this week. But the biggest thing that I'll say take away from Kansas City is that Trey Hendrickson was the best player on the field. He was the best player on the field on Sunday. And the reason I say that is because, A, you get the 2 big sacks, and then you force Patrick Mahomes to throw 2 interceptions.
Should have been 3. I still don't know what the penalty on that they called for Travis Kelce. I still don't know what that penalty was.
But you look back at the film, Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown 2 interceptions in how long? They hold him under 250 yards, 225 yards, I believe. I think they even held him under 200.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes hasn't been held under 200 yards in, 3 years?
Something like that.
But overall, the defense really stood up. Now the defensive line did take a hit losing B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins. They just signed Ty Lue from New England, so they went out, got a veteran guy who had a great start to his career in New England, but he's been bouncing around since then. So they bring in the veteran depth there. But obviously, it's not great hearing you have to bring guys in when you lose your 2 key substantials, with one of them being your top free agent signing.
Then we saw our rookie, McKinley Jackson, who studs. He got hurt early. Hopefully these guys come back soon because, I mean, to be honest, that's scary. We gotta have this guy. But how about that interception by Taylor Britt? That's gotta be the play of the year. I don't know. Not the second game of the year, but just threw it over one hand up.
That is actually Odell Beckham.
He didn't put his hand on the guy or anything.
It was Odell. Like it was might be up there right behind Odell's.
They were playing on the game. They're Odell's highlight.
What's even more interesting about that pick, Jeff, was he talked the talk and he walked the walk. I mean, he came out in national media and said, Xavier Worthy,
straight.
He said all he would do is run straight. They hit him on a go route and try, and look what happens. It's
they got him on the first one. But I rewatched that, and on the first one where they got him for the touchdown, I don't think Cam thought they were going to throw the ball. He slowed down.
And the second ball, Mahomes threw that on a rope.
Well, yeah, and he still almost got there. Yeah. If you watch how close he was actually taking that ball, if Cam doesn't slow down, he knocks the ball away.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how good Patrick throws it.
Absolutely. And you got to give credit where credit is due. That's one of those throws where a quarterback steps in and makes a great throw, and that was what that was from Patrick Mahomes. But overall, Cam Taylor-Britt, that's probably going to be interception of the year. I don't think you see many people the rest of the season make that kind of catch. I mean, it wasn't 3 fingers like Odell had, but it was still it's stuff like glue. It didn't move. It was an incredible play, and it was a huge momentum changer into this game.
Exactly. The other thing that I like seeing is since they were double teaming Jamar and T wasn't in there, the tight ends, the 2 tight end sets, and how much all played. He played like almost every snap. How effective he was, and Gesicki. I mean, Gesicki's going to be a weapon for us.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki has had tremendous success throughout his career versus Kansas City, so that's a big thing as well. But to see him get going was huge. And Eric Hall, I mean, it's actually kind of funny we bring him up because, I mean, I played against him in high school versus basketball, so I know the kid. So, I mean.
So you're going to call up and say, come on, nice show?
Hey, maybe. I'll reach out. But, I mean, that's a huge thing because, I mean, Cincinnati kid, he gets his opportunity, goes out and has a big game in week 2. Like, this is a guy they probably weren't expecting to reach until like week 4, week 5, maybe later in the season.
Honestly, when they drafted him, I thought he was going to be on the pup list. I didn't think with his knee injury, I think he's maybe more of next year.
And people forget that ACL injury he's had. That was a terrific. It was like a gruesome injury. Like everything in his knee had to be redone.
Right. That's why he dropped in the draft, and that's why most Bengal fans didn't think he was going to be able to play this year. And I'll never forget. I was over there at the practice field. His very first catch, he did a little spin around and one-handed catch going. That looked pretty good. That's a cool way to start. I know it was training camp and practice, but I'm like, that's good. We haven't had an all-purpose tight end like that
in a while.
I mean, that's that good. He's
a physical guy, and that's the thing that they needed. They drafted him in the 4th round for a reason. So overall, you draft him high, he comes in, shocks a lot of people because, as you mentioned, he was supposed to be on the PUP list.
Right.
So then you get him healthy, you come back out there, and then he makes an impact like that. But overall, getting your tight ends involved is so crucial.
It is.
And I say it at UC all the time because with the guys they have, like 12 personnel in NFL, like anytime you can run a 2 tight end set, it utilizes it in multiple different ways, especially in the NFL because we've seen the success that Travis Kelce and Noah Gray have had over the recent years. But overall, Cincinnati now has their number 1 tight end in Mike Gesicki. And then you have a guy like Eric Hall who can come in. They haven't had that success in a while.
You just start, you got Sample and all, and you play those, and then you can.
And Sample is your walking tight end.
And you got Gesicki split out. And that being said, Burton. They got to
find a way to get Jermaine Burton involved.
They put him out one straight, and he play. That's what he did. That's what I think they're going to slowly get him in. You get all this offense on, and then you bring T. Higgins in.
And hopefully, what the reports were saying was he ramped up. So hopefully we see him back out.
He was doing stuff like he's going to play. So it looked like.
And now that you have that extra day in the bye week, deal with that. I mean, you avoided the IR in the first place, which is a great sign. Obviously, you would have liked to have him out there for the first 2 weeks, but it says a lot about the type of injury it is if he avoided the IR. But overall, I mean, once you get T. Higgins back to this offense, I mean, they put up 25 versus Kansas City. If you imagine T. Higgins to the picture, they're back down the back half of the stretch. Cincinnati has 2 legitimate weapons at wide receivers. Everybody knows that. But it's going to open up a lot of things, especially with a big tight end like Mike Gesicki, Eric Hall coming in there. It's going to allow one of these guys to open up. Now, whether that's Yoshi Vash in the slot, Yoshi's played very well, but someone's going to slide in and make a key impact, and it's going to be a great sign for the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what excites me. And I kept telling everybody, I was like, because they're like, oh, we lost. It's frustrating. Yeah, it's a frustrating loss. I was frustrated, but I was less frustrated this week than I was last week. And like, if we played like we did this week last week, blowing the Patriots out of the water. Why would we do that? I have no idea. That part is getting frustrating. I don't know. But the thing is, I keep saying that I like to find out the odds. I said this last week. What are the odds that the Bengals, if you play against the switch, are the Bengals will be in first place or close to first place come November? Because
it's a great opportunity. Because I mean, you look at the division right now. Baltimore's 0-2.
Mm-hmm. The
Browns are so up in the air because you don't know what kind of play you're going to get from Deshaun Watson on the day-to-day performance. Week 2, he played much better than Week 1, but there's still a lot of uncertainties there. They're without their star tight end, they're without their star running back yet. Jerome Ford is there in that spot, but they're using a guy in Deontay Foreman, the bigger back, because that's the style that Stefanski likes to use. So overall, there's still a lot of things there in place for the Bengals to be sitting at the top of the division come November. So it's going to be it's good, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play. But for them to do that, Jeff, Zach Moss and Chase Brown has to get going.
Yes,
and for me personally, I think it's got to be the time where Chase Brown gets more snaps.
I think it's cool. I think they're ramping up that way. I think that's what it looks like they're trying to do. And I think there's a couple of Chase Brown look like he's getting closer to actually breaking one.
Yeah,
I mean he's got. I bring this up before I said training camp. I saw one time where it's 2-hand touch or whatever. And he went through a hole and nobody touched him.
Yeah.
That's how fast this dude is. So that's where I'm very excited about our offense. And if our defensive line is hurts, like it sounds like they are, the offense is going to need to step up.
Linebackers will have to step on the defensive side of the ball if that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to find ways to get pressure. But overall, I mean, you don't want to lose your top 2 nose tackles and defensive tackles, but defense is going to have to find a way to hone in, really stop the run, because Jaden Daniels – he's a dual threat quarterback. So everybody who has watched him through college, they know that.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to see how do they adjust come Monday night. If they can find a way to stop the run and stop Jaden Daniels, you're fine. Because who is Washington going to throw the ball to? Terry McLaurin? They have one wide receiver, and Cam Taylor-Britt will be shadowing McLaurin wherever he's going.
I'm not trying to overlook the Commanders. I'm not, but damn it.
Austin Eckler, 40. I mean, he's significantly gone down.
The next 2 weeks, if we're not 2-2,
should be 2-2 heading into Week 5.
There is no reason we shouldn't be 2-2 the next 2 weeks. Now, like all you say here is that if anyone had to be 2-0, I'm glad it's Pittsburgh. They won't keep winning, and that's the thing. It's like and the national media drives me nuts. They're like, "Oh, Pittsburgh Steelers."
And it's interesting too because
quarterback.
Because what is Pittsburgh going to do when Russell Wilson comes back? That's going to be your next question. Because I can tell you right now, Russell Wilson will not sit on the bench. He came in there with the purpose of being a starter. Yes, Justin Fields has played well. But if they elect to rock with Justin Fields, which they could, Russell Wilson might elect out of that contract and say, hey, I want to trade or release me because I'm not playing. I mean, we've seen it in the past. He's forced his way out of Seattle. Go to Denver. He's not what he is expected to be out there.
I see them saying go ahead because what's he done for them? I mean, Justin Fields is actually played better. I think Justin Fields is first.
And I hate to say it, but Justin Fields, what happened in Chicago was not on Justin Fields. That was on the offensive scheme coordinator. Look at what Caleb Williams did Week 1. I mean,
I think he's in a good spot for him. But for the Bengals, them being, they're not going to maintain that. I mean, Baltimore, I hate the Ravens. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get better. I mean, the cream is going to rise to the top. I think the 2 teams at the bottom of the division right now, by the end, they're going to be the 2 first place and second place teams, which would be the Bengals, obviously, in the first place. So that's where I'm like, they're different. The division is still there. It's still ours.
It's still
even at 0-2. So that's where that's what people like. Actually, at work today, I was pleasantly surprised that people were more optimistic. Because usually Bengals fans are, oh, we lost. We shouldn't have lost. F the Chiefs, F the refs. And a lot of them are like, should have won that game. There's no reason we should.
And people overlook the fact too, Jeff, that you look back at this last 5 matchups between these 2 teams. Every game has been decided by 3 points or less.
I said that on Friday. I said it's going to be decided by 3 points because they always are. And please, what people forget, last year we went in there, it's Burrowhead, so we call Burrowhead. We went in the Burrowhead, and we competed with them and ran the game with Jake Browning as a backup quarterback. Yeah. And it wasn't everyone that got blown out. So that's where like, and the thing is, I keep calling it Burrowhead, and people hate it. I'm like, the Bengals aren't scared
to go on the road
and play there, and that's why I'm not scared to call it Burrowhead. I don't. It has nothing to do with them beating us or whatever. And that's where I think Bengals fans get a little scared of this. I'm like, you don't have to be scared. The Bengals are not scared of the Chiefs whatsoever. I think we're going to be back there. Well, I'm hoping we're here in the jungle.
Yeah, hopefully we're back here in the playoff. Yeah,
but it makes it really hard to get that number 1 seed. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons you got to start.
But you look at the AFC too. I mean, Buffalo's up in the air. Oakland was a wild card team last year. Yes, they have the good win over Baltimore right now, but they're up in the air. I think your only lock right now is Kansas City. Like the Bills were playoff teams the last 5 years when that Allen and Stephon Diggs connection was there, but Josh Allen's throwing to Khalil Shakir only.
Right.
So I mean, you're going to have to think about that. And Buffalo's also getting banged up too. And then Kansas City now loses Isaiah Pacheco for up to 8 weeks potentially. I mean, that's a huge blow to their offense. So I mean, yes, they signed Kareem Hunt today, but I mean, what is Kareem Hunt going to do this week?
Right.
He's not going to come in and, I mean, he might come in. It might be the same offense, but he'll come in and be making an immediate impact. But it might be 2-3 weeks down the road before he's even fully invested in the system.
Exactly.
But overall, I mean, you lose Isaiah Pacheco to that offense. He does so many different things well for Andy Reid and that team. So overall, losing him, you never know what kind of caliber player he's coming back.
And the thing is, with the Bengals' schedule, that helps. I mean, an easy schedule, and we got an easier schedule than Kansas City does. Easier schedule than Ravens, Buffalo. We got an easier schedule all because we didn't make the playoffs. But that's the spoils we get from what we went through last year. And again, that's where I'm like, I really believe the Bengals can win and potentially will win every single freaking game all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's because I put it this way: if this is their jumping off point, the way they played yesterday, should be just get better from there. Just think of where they started, where they could be by December, January, and into February. I mean, it's as long as you stay healthy. That is, you always got to purpose it with that. But just from that, you don't see them going backwards in any way.
No, absolutely not. Jeff, let me ask you this question on the Bengals.
Yeah.
If you're a Bengals fan, which you are, do you hope T. Higgins comes back and has this 1,200-yard year and then goes out and touches the market? Or do you kind of hope that he has a down year and the Bengals re-sign him cheap?
I hope he goes out and balls out and go get money somewhere else, to be honest. I mean, because he deserves it.
He deserves it.
If he goes that balls out, like I think he does, we're getting that ring.
Yeah.
So I think one last hurrah with him. I mean, I hope they sign him, but
then the reason I ask that is because I know a lot of people I've seen on social media and whatnot are kind of hoping that he comes back as a down year so the Bengals can sign him for cheap, which I mean would be great.
The thing that's already hurting him is he's already out with his first 2 games of the hamstring. That's been
the hamstring injury that's been lingering over the years.
Since college.
Yes.
He said the problem. And that's what I think will prevent him from getting. He's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get at least a 4-year, $80 million somewhere.
Prevent him from getting the massive because he has a history and it happened. It's just the way it is. But it's still not going to knock down. I think where the Bengals are going to sign him. Hence, that's why I think they drafted Burton.
Yeah,
for him to be the T. Higgins
the next guy.
Year.
Yep,
hopefully we can this year. But I'm flat excited about it. And it's Monday. For you guys are watching for the second time here since we got knocked off. This Monday we are going to be doing the Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is doing here, and we're not here, but at the Bengals Stadium here at Mercedes Mitchell. Ring of Honor has pregame experience. Hopefully, Cody will be here. He's getting in the Ring of Honor. Guys, I'm telling you, it's $75. Open bar.
That's 2 words in the English dictionary. Right there.
Open bar. Yes, what's open bar mean? Like, open bar.
It was a great time.
My dad got on TV last time he was here for the thing. It's gonna be awesome. They have a beautiful spread. We had shrimp, we had crab cakes, we had chicken wings, we had all kinds of stuff. It is awesome. It's only $75. It's the best thing in town. I don't care what anybody says. You would spend that much money if you went.
You would go to Banks and get 5 drinks for $75.
Exactly. And you can get all that here. So I'll be doing a live show there. Updates on what's going on in the game and having some fun. So you guys come to the game. I'm telling you, this is the event to come to. It's going to be an absolute blast. like I said, I'm 99% sure Corey Dillon's going to be here. I know he's going to be in town. I'll be hanging out with him. I think I'm going to get him to come to the tailgate, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And how cool is it that two of the guys that Tim Curry, I really grew up watching play. But having those two go into the Ring of Honor, because those two, I think, are two like toughest SOBs that ever put stripes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's huge. I think Tim Crumright could have gone in a couple years ago. Same with Corey Dillon. I think they both made their cases to where they could have gone in the Ring of Honor a couple years ago. But it's going to be a great sight to see. Obviously, getting them both back at Paycor Stadium. Hopefully, with the People's victory on the other side of things, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Huh?
And they just announced that they'll be the ruler of the
Oh,
Giants.
yeah, I already knew that. Oh, sorry. My bad, I already knew that. No, I don't think I did tell everybody, but I knew that. I knew that. So a little birdie named Corey told me that, but I knew that.
The main source kicked through.
Can't hold it up friends with Corey Dillon. It's not my fault. They can't hear you, okay? They made fun of my own daughter here. So, anyway, all right, one thing I want to ask you about this, and chat about sports, because their own podcast, whatever, Tom Brennan was on there. I don't know what Tom was thinking, but he came out and he said, I don't know, guys, Joe, what kind of pedestrian on Sunday? I'm like, what in the hell game were you watching that he thought Joe Burrow looked pretty pedestrian on Sunday?
That was the most fired up I've seen Joe Burrow in a while. And I mean, Jeff, I don't think we have ever seen him so emotional to where he goes and grabs Jamar Chase and physically throws him back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have seen that side of Joe Burrow yet. And we saw it on Sunday that he knew what this rivalry meant and what this game's implications on. Yet it's only week 2, but he knows that the season implications rely right there.
Exactly.
But to see him that fired up, showing he's taking that leadership role, he's really embracing that. But it shows what people do and look at him within this team. They look at him like he is the captain of the team, which he is.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that he knows how to control a locker room, get the emotions down, and really find ways through these tough situations to find ways every time. Because no matter what, when Joe Burrow is healthy, he has a great chance of taking this team in position to win. And I think everybody has seen that.
Absolutely. And hopefully he put everything in bed about his wrist. Water bottle game.
Which, I mean, let's be honest, guys. We're going to talk about the water bottle. How many of us have sat by a couch or a bench and grabbed the water bottle by the top? We've had to lift it up from the top and grab it by the bottom. Like, we've all been there.
Right.
Over speculation of the wrist injury. You see him with the wristband reflecting it.
He had surgery on it. Of course he's going to try to keep the ligament.
He's trying to keep it loose. Exactly.
Come on, people. I mean, and these are that's what these guys who have these national broadcasts who got a quote cover everything, but don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's just like, it just drives me nuts. I'm like, you get paid a whole bunch of money. Oh, he's stretching his wrist out. Like,
Clickbait at its finest. Clickbait at its finest. That's what I call that.
It drives me nuts. And then that narrative goes to everybody. Oh, there's something wrong with Joe's wrist. Like, no, well, there was. He got it fixed. Now he's fine. So
I mean, people also forget too. Like, they're still talking about the injury, but the injury happened week 10 last year.
Yeah,
it's already the last 7 weeks of the season. Then he has the surgery all off season. Like, by that point, it's what, Jeff? 9 months since it happened.
So when he played his first football game 2 weeks ago, first football game he played 10 months.
Exactly.
10 months. And like I said, I don't care what you do for a living. If you haven't done it for 10 months, you're going to be a little rusty.
You're going to be a little rusty.
It doesn't matter. You can simulate it all you want. You cannot simulate an NFL game in real speed, or especially trying to break down defense, see what they a two-way ball. Wide receivers going this way or this way. I looked at safety off. There's so much stuff going on that he hasn't had to actually physically keep in 10 months. For everybody to go, what's going on? Joe, God, he's not Superman. It's just,
and I really hope people realize too, like, after the performance he had versus Kansas City, that people will stop saying he's injured. The performance he had, it should kind of silence all that and put that question to debate right now.
You say something about Jamar. Jamar didn't really practice. He didn't have that great of a game Well, I mean, you got that past week.
I mean, Jamar's going to be double teamed all season long, and I think a lot of people know that, especially with T. Higgins not out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when T. Higgins comes back, you're going to see a lot of one opportunities. And we all know Jamar Chase can go win a one-on-one, a go ball anytime.
Exactly.
But once you put T. Higgins back in the picture, things will start to open up. But until then, you're going to see a lot of double teams, or you're going to see these cover threes, or these strange defenses where Jamar's going to be doubled.
Yeah.
But you just have to take what the defense gives you. Obviously, this weekend, I think he finished with, 4 catches for 50 yards roughly? But overall, this guy who also didn't play all training camp. Yeah, he's perfectly healthy, but it's still finding a way to get him back to the offense. And I think in the upcoming weeks, it's only going to take one breakout for Jamar Chase to really settle in. Yep, okay, I'm back. Let's go.
Exactly. And I think that's right. The Commanders and the Panthers back weeks. They're pretty good teams
To get two. Yeah. The Panthers are just awful. Now what I am worried about.
They'll play Andy Dalton probably.
Yeah, that's that game at Carolina is here. That's the great question. For that game here, I am worried about Andy Dalton coming back, revenge game, and throwing for 300 like he did in his one start last season. Because I mean, obviously,
really well against the times he played.
But we obviously all know, too, for those who have watched college football and throughout the NFL, that Bryce Young was not the answer down there in Carolina. I'll be the guy to say it, but, I mean, you look back at what Carolina's franchise did in order to get Bryce Young. You shift out a young CMC. You shift out DJ Moore. You trade Brian Burns. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You have all three of those guys in your prime, and
you trade them.
Christian McCaffrey is the best back in the league and was voted one of the top 5 players in the league. Mm-hmm. Brian Burns just came off a career season, and then DJ Moore was like, yeah, get me out of here. Like, I'm good, get me out of here. But it's like DJ Moore was caught by surprise, and then you bring in a guy who everybody knew heading into that draft class with Bryce Young, there was going to be questions surrounding his height as a quarterback. And, I mean, it's shown for 2 years.
And especially a guy with that height and everything, you got and you trade all these guys. You give them nothing to hurt you. You should at least give them an offensive line. And they're offensive line. Speaking of offensive line, roll us back here real quick. I just love this. And I talked about this all season with the Ravens. Everybody's like, oh, they got Chris Henry. Not Chris Henry. They got Henry. And all they're going to run the ball. And I'm like, they're on those 3 offensive line.
Right.
3. That's a big one. If the Bengals had done that, it'd be national media. Oh, my God. They're not protecting the world. They're not doing this.
And I think people realize that to bring up, too.
Yeah.
Amarius Mims could be back this week. Could be back this week from Cincinnati. Not only gets that boost on the offensive line, they get that boost in depth there, too. That's a huge thing. But back to what I was saying about the whole Carolina situation, I saw Bryce Young in person when I covered the Cotton Bowl. So, obviously, I was not impressed with Bryce Young even in that matchup because what happened in that game, it was a 27-6 loss. Mm-hmm. But look at who the running back was, Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Bryce Young was held under 120 yards with only one big play coming to Jamison Williams. Sauce clamped him that whole game. But when Alabama's running back goes for 220 on you, I mean, you don't have to do anything else when you're just running the ball down to the
thing I always bring up about the Cotton Bowl. We had the 2 best quarterbacks.
And people forget.
Why did you stack the box? And you knew they were on all on us. Luke, I'm like, just stay off from the run.
It's the 3-3-5 defense. That's the thing. That's the worst thing about the 3-3-5. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We like the defense, but sometimes you got to start sending the pressure early, and you got to find ways to do it. Like you see right now, they're sending the pressure in the 3-3-5, but you like to see that pressure quicker.
Yeah.
But that was in a moment where you wish you would stack the box, because if they stack the box there, make Brian Robinson go outside in that situation, and I mean, with that defensive line, I mean,
they weren't going to throw it. Sauce and Cody Bryant were shut down.
Yeah,
that's where like you got us to run, and like everybody knew that.
And people who realize who've been around the Cincinnati program, they need to realize how special of a player Sauce Gardner actually is. I mean, my first year on the beat, 2020, I went to obviously covering the game. I was on the field, doing my job and everything,
right?
And I have a video in my camera roll, which I'll send you after the show, of me right up on Sauce Gardner going through drills. I was like, future first-round draft pick in 2022. That was 2 years prior, and look what happened. He became highest pick, Cincinnati history, Defensive Player of the Year, All-Pro his first 2 years, and now arguably the best cornerback in the NFL. So overall, the talent there was huge.
I remember having conversations with people in the chat here, going on like, oh, hopefully Sauce will fall on us. And there's no way Sauce is falling on us. He's going to be the top.
Cincinnati would have had to trade up.
That's the only way they would have got out.
And now I would have loved to see him go home to Detroit, but I think he fits what Rob Saleh is doing in New York pretty well.
He fits that well. And I'm happy for him. I mean, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I mean, Ryan's pretty good at Seattle, too. So, I mean, we have two best corners in college football.
I mean, you look at that team that Cincinnati had in 2021 because you talk about Alec Pierce falling out for the Colts right now.
And he was getting shit on last year, I heard, too.
Yeah, he had an up and down start to his NFL career, but, I mean, you look at him now this year, he's leading Indianapolis in the receiving.
I would love the Bengals have drafted him.
I mean, you look back at that.
Why would the Bengals draft Bearcats?
That's a great question. I would have loved to see Jawan Briggs in the orange and black.
I want him to get that far. I would love to get them to get him next year. And I can see him being there and they go, I'm going to pick somebody else.
I would love to see a Bearcat right here stay home in Cincinnati.
Work for UC. You might want to.
Yep, I would love to see that. Love to see that. But I mean, you look back at that 2021 team. Now that we're talking about it, Jeff, Sauce Gardner starting, Alec Pierce starting, Jerome Ford starting, James Hudson starting in Cleveland, Derek Forrest starting in Washington, Kobe Bryant plays significant snaps in Seattle. Like everybody on that team is playing significant time that went to the NFL. Brian Cook just won himself 2 rings in 2 years.
I know.
So I mean, that team was special. Really special team.
It was awesome. Hopefully, Sat will get us somewhere back to that. But I think the recruiting has got to get a little better. But the whole recruiting thing is so different now than 3 years ago.
Right.
Because NILs and all that. The NIL is more important now than I think recruiting freshmen.
Right, and people forget about that too. The NIL landscape changes everything in terms of recruiting. Because not only, like you see an example right now, they have 16 guys in their 2025 class.
Right.
But then you're thinking, me personally, I see that number 1 to 20. Mm-hmm. But then you have the transfer portal.
Yep.
The transfer portal, I mean, look at their team right now. 7 of the guys on the defensive end, Jeff, are from the transfer portal and have played significant snaps. And then you look back, the 7 freshmen who have played this year for Cincinnati have played the most snaps in the last 4 years as freshmen over Cincinnati. So, I mean, he's doing a lot of things right. He's finding the right guys. But the recruiting landscape is definitely taking a weird change because NIL comes into a factor, and it's like, okay, how does this really change everything?
You see they win?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're 6.5-point favorites right now. But after talking with people, I talked with Gavin Gilhart and Joe Royer after practice today. I'll have those videos uploaded if they aren't already. I haven't been on the phone often to see if my boss got uploaded, so hopefully they will be uploaded. Yeah, I'm here hanging out watching the show. So overall, have those content up there. But this team's hungry. This team's ready to come, and I think you can kind of sense like they got their style back. They got the swagger back a little bit after the win versus Miami. And I mean, hearing the response after Miami, and we can't talk about this team right now without talking about what happened in the special teams game Saturday. That changed the game drastically because in the end, you look back at the Pittsburgh game, that missed field goal isn't the only play that haunts that game. There's a lot of things they could have done better.
It didn't help.
But it would have helped. But then Nathan Hawks comes into a game where, guys, this was a D3 kicker, started at Wittenberg, transferred from Wittenberg, didn't have any options, goes back to Wittenberg again, then enrolls at Cincinnati as a student, gets a tryout, but his child gets pushed back on hold because he tears a quad, tears a hip flexor, considers retirement from the game.
Oh, wow.
Gets his tryout, comes in, and then a year later he bangs 2 50-yard field goals. And Jeff, that 55-yard field goal was good from 70. He crushed that good from 70.
I tweeted out like, I think we found a field goal.
I think it's safe to say that Cincinnati has found their kicker. I mean, yes, you hate to see what happened to Carter Brown, knowing that the success he had at Arizona State and the success he had last season. But it was something that they felt like they had to make the change, and they made the change, and it played off in their favor because they saw what happened at Miami last year. You didn't want history to repeat itself, so you were able to knock down the games. And I think, and Coach Sad even alluded to it today, Jeff, that 50-yard field goal at the end of the game was huge because people don't realize what happens if he misses that kick. Not only do they get great field position down 8, but you had a lot of factors to go into that situation. It could have been a repeat of Pitt. They tried to pin them deep versus Pitt. Pitt comes down the field, scores, game over.
Yep.
But they put it into their hands, and, I mean, it's not easy as a head coach saying, hey, I have confidence in this guy, even though he's only picked one game in the college level, but the confidence level is there, and that says a lot about what Coach Satterfield and his staff believes in. I mean, this is a guy who's never sat out there, never kicked a game in his life. I put him in a situation where the first kick in 55 yards, I mean, he buries it. Then he comes back and hits another 50-yarder. Like, I mean, you saw the video after. They were fired up for him in the locker room, as everyone should be.
Exactly. How cool is he wears number 86?
96.
96.
96, yeah. And what's even better, too, his story is he's a walk-on.
Yeah.
So that adds to it as well. Like, overall, his journey to Cincinnati is great. Yeah, we got one in the works already. So check out Rivals.com for that story. Yep.
So we were live at Royal Lager House. We're having a great time. It's happy hour extended until 9 o'clock. I hope everybody's having a great time. I'll put this up on here. You guys having fun? All right. $5 drafts, house wines, and well drinks, and $2 off appetizers all the way till 9 o'clock tonight. We do this each and every Tuesday. So it's been my pleasure hanging out with you guys. Got Neil right here. Make sure you guys follow Neil. You think they're talking Bengals with me, but he covers the Bearcats. So all of a sudden, he just stay about the Bengals. He knows even more about the Bearcats. That's probably where they can follow you at.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at MeyerNeil6. I write for CincinnatiRivals.com, a.k.a. the Front Office News. You can find us there. I host the Bearcat Blitz podcast with my co-host, Russ Heldman. And that's actually partnered with Valley Sports Ohio, so you can find us there, too. And then here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be starting up the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast again. Me, myself, Alex Meacham, and JT Smith will be having that out there again for Season 3. So a lot of good content coming out.
Sounds good, man. We gotta get Alex and the boys over here.
We got to get Alex. JT will be here next week.
Yeah, JT will be here next week. That's cool. So join us here live here next Tuesday at the Royal Lager House. Thanks for watching the live streaming on ZTV, Facebook, X, Twitch, and Twitter. You follow all those Instagram threads and TikToks. Shout outs to my sponsors on the show, along with Royal Lager House, Midwest Best Barbecue. If you guys have not been there, please go check out their delicious chicken wings. Also, shout out to Meyer Windows and Doors. Check them out at www.CincinnatiMeyer.com. And Hail Marys, right in the heart of Shimmy. It's your ticket to the game. Free party beer specials and food trucks. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you hopefully here Monday night at the Mercedes Benz Fort Mitchell Royal Lager House, the pregame experience. We're going to be enjoying Corey Dillon, Bob Corey in the red line. It's going to be a great time. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. And that's just sports, baby.
They still gotta play us. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Hey, don't run that ball on the one Hubbard, showed you how that go down. Feeling like Santino, tell him we want all the smoke now. We ain't snooping that commercial, we don't put no smoke down. Plus we back and you can't hide, so it ain't nowhere safe to go now. Hey, we always gon' turn up in that jungle every time. How we ain't gon' win when we loaded in with 9? Plus T just came in signed, so the city gon' be fine. Jamar say he open every time and he ain't never lied. Look at how we win at it, the size of the old line. Giving Burrow extra time should be a federal crime. Hey, we right back on that path again. Put the division back to the test, they won't pass again. Orlando and Trent Brown, that's the Tower Twins. Feel like we only getting better as we stacking wins.
And we stacking.
Jaceki in for 6, that's a gritty again. AFC North battles getting gritty again. It's Yoshi second year, we just brought Burton in. Von back to ring some bells, get the